The silence of a man is often mistaken for peace. It is rarely that. It is more often the quiet hum of unfulfilled potential, the muted echo of dreams deferred. The modern man walks through his days with a phantom limb where his ambition used to be, a gnawing emptiness he can't quite name. This is not a life of thriving. It is a slow surrender. It is the quiet desperation that Marcus Aurelius warned us of, not with thunder, but with a whisper. It is the fate of many, but it is not inevitable. Understand this. Most men do not fail spectacularly. They do not fall from great heights in a single, dramatic collapse. Instead, they wither. They shrink. They accept a life of muted colors, of compromise, of a subtle, soul-crushing resignation. They call it adulting. They call it being realistic. They call it finding peace. But beneath the surface, the water is stagnant, and the rot is setting in. This quiet desperation is a thief. It steals joy. It steals purpose. It steals the very essence of what it means to be alive and engaged with the world. It's the man who looks at his reflection and sees a stranger, a ghost haunting the shell of his former aspirations. He knows deep down that something is fundamentally wrong, but the inertia is too great. What compels a man to trade a life of fire for a life of embers? It is a complex tapestry woven from societal pressures, personal fears, and a failure to engage in the rigorous internal work required for true fulfillment. We are taught to be compliant, to fit in, to avoid discomfort. The path of least resistance often leads to a destination of quiet despair. Consider the soldier. He marches, he trains, he endures hardship not for a vague sense of future comfort, but for the immediate clarity of purpose. His actions have weight. His discipline has meaning in the present moment. A man adrift in quiet desperation lacks this anchor. His days blur into a monotonous sequence of tasks, devoid of deeper significance. This is the critical juncture. The moment a man recognizes the subtle poison seeping into his life, it is not a loud alarm. It is the faint, persistent cough of a dying fire. Many men ignore it, distracting themselves with fleeting pleasures, endless scrolling, or the shallow pursuit of external validation. They build a facade of busyness to hide the emptiness within. This avoidance is a fatal flaw. It perpetuates the cycle. It allows the whispers of discontent to grow into a deafening silence of regret. The ancient Stoics understood this internal battle. They knew that the greatest wars are fought within the mind, against our own fears and delusions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This is the antithesis of quiet desperation. It is action. It is embodiment. It is the refusal to merely contemplate virtue, but to live it, to struggle for it, to embody it even when it is difficult. What is this internal void that quiet desperation fills? It is the space left by a lack of self-mastery. It's the unexamined life, the unruled desires, the UN-confronted shadows. A man who does not master himself is a ship without a rudder, tossed about by the currents of circumstance and the whims of others. Society often praises a man for his stability, his predictability. But this can be a mask. The man who never rocks the boat often finds himself in a stagnant pond. True strength lies not in unwavering conformity, but in the disciplined pursuit of excellence, even when it requires challenging the status quo, both externally and internally. He must begin to see the world not as a series of passive experiences, but as a continuous opportunity for deliberate action. Each decision, each thought, each habit is a brushstroke on the canvas of his life. Is he painting a masterpiece, or a muddy, indistinct blur? The fear of failure is a powerful cage. Many men choose the perceived safety of mediocrity over the potential for magnificent growth, stifling their true potential before it even has a chance to ignite. They fear judgment. They fear the discomfort of the climb. They fear the possibility of falling short. But consider the alternative. A life lived entirely within the confines of one's comfort zone is a life unlived. The greatest achievements, the deepest satisfactions, come from pushing beyond perceived limitations. The blacksmith does not forge steel by wishing. He hammers it, he heats it. He bends it to his will. The modern world bombards us with distractions, with instant gratification, with a constant demand for our attention. This makes the practice of quiet, deliberate self-reflection more challenging, yet more essential than ever. It is in these moments of solitude, away from the noise, that a man can truly hear himself. He must cultivate a relationship with discomfort. He must view challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities to build resilience, to hone his character. This is the core of Stoic philosophy, not the absence of suffering, but the mastery of one's response to it. And what of responsibility? It is a burden for some, a source of profound purpose for others. The man who shirks responsibility, who avoids the weight of his obligations, will find his life lacking the very substance that gives it meaning. True fulfillment is often found in shouldering burdens, in protecting, in providing, in leading. The key is not to eliminate all external comforts, but to ensure they do not become the master. A man can enjoy the fruits of his labor, but he must never let them become the sole purpose of his labor. The pursuit of pleasure without purpose is a hollow echo. So, how does a man escape this slow, quiet erosion? He begins with radical honesty. He looks inward and confronts the man he has become, not with judgment, but with clear-eyed assessment. He identifies the compromises, the fears, the areas where he has settled. Then, he takes one deliberate step. Not a giant leap, but a single purposeful movement. It could be waking up an hour earlier, dedicating 30 minutes to a challenging task, or engaging in a difficult but necessary conversation. This single act, repeated consistently, begins to dismantle the architecture of stagnation. The philosopher Seneca stated, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." This is the essence of breaking free from quiet desperation. It is about reclaiming the present moment, about investing it wisely in actions that align with one's deepest values and highest potential. This is not a path for the faint of heart. It requires courage, it requires discipline, and it requires a willingness to face oneself unflinchingly. But the reward is immeasurable. A life lived with intention, with purpose, with a profound sense of inner peace that is not born of silence, but of genuine accomplishment and self-mastery. He has traded the quiet hum of unfulfilled potential for the resonant chord of a life lived fully. The gnawing emptiness is replaced by the solid foundation of self-respect. The phantom limb of ambition is reattached, throbbing with vibrant life. This is not the fate of many, but the chosen path of the few, the path of the man who refused to surrender.